Hey, 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 Dominique here, founder of the Jumpstart Coaching Lab, DJH Capital Management, and maybe some things in the future. Who knows, right? There's this business, this entrepreneur thing. I like it. I like self-employment. So, welcome to all of you listening on. Oh, let's see, where are we today? We are LinkedIn. We are on YouTube. So, hello to LinkedIn. Hello to YouTube. Hello to Facebook. Hello to Facebook in two places. On the Jumpstart Coaching Lab page, the business page, and also hello to Facebook. I I dusted off the old Facebook group. So if you were in there, you might want to go check it. Like I've been throwing some stuff in the feed. So for various reasons. We'll get into that in just a little bit. So, and maybe Twitter. I think Twitter's there. Sorry, Instagram. Like until they update the API, it's like super hard to try to go live. So I try to do different stuff over there. But anyways, welcome all. Welcome all. Tonight's gonna be a little different than the last 4 weeks where we've gone over how to get started and how to make impact. We've talked about understanding your why. We've talked about understanding the why, who, how framework. I've posted about this. Those three words, 9 letters is a very, very powerful formula to help you get to where you need to go in financial services. If you're on your way there, if you're already in the industry. We also talked about understanding the financial services continuum. We also talked about developing champ skills. That was last week. And we're going to pause to answer some questions tonight. You might have questions about how to become a financial planner, how to start a career in financial planning, a myriad of things. And I'm going to be taking your questions tonight and answering those for as long as you give them. So this might be a very short night, or this may be, we may go to the top of the hour. We'll see. And so we're going to pause that, or we're going to pause the regularly scheduled programming, if you will, to answer your questions. And then we'll circle back in a couple of weeks to talk about finding your tribe. How do you do that? How do you find your tribe of people? It's always better to do stuff together. Like when you work out, it's better to have a gym buddy. There's a lot of things, marriage, life. It's better to have a partner. So we're going to talk about how you find a tribe, a community. We're going to talk about developing your expertise also. These are things coming down the pipe. And also how to serve at the highest level. So all that's in store. Let me know where you're listening from, watching from. Please like and subscribe. Share this. If you're tuning in just now, you have maybe a person that you are studying for the CFP exam or some other exam, maybe 66 or 65 or 7. Be like, hey, it's this good looking bald headed dude on live right now. So just share it. We appreciate that. The algorithms love the sharing nature of the platform. All right, so give me a second here. Let me pull up my LinkedIn, because as I've complained before, if you're watching and you're on the LinkedIn, development team, maybe you can help with this, but I don't know why the API does not work to pull in the comments for people that are watching the live. So anyways, I always have to go in and do it myself, and that takes me a little time. Okay, so hopefully everybody can hear. I'm looking like my sound and everything is great, so we're good to go. All right. One thing I want to talk about before we get into questions, you can just load those into the chat. That'd be great if you want to do that now. Next week we will be hosting something that I think is pretty unique. That I've done a version of this before in the past, and I've kind of shaken the dust off of this idea too. But a lot of people approach me DM wise, comments wise on social media, and ask 2 questions that really revolve around kind of moving through, or let's say ascending up the ladder when it comes to this particular career. And we put together a challenge that is over 5 days. It's an immersive workshop that will give you the tools that I've developed over a 20 plus year career in financial services, and narrow those down into 5 categories of what I feel like um, allow you to ascend. And ascension for the sake of promotion, ascension for the sake of um, understanding what this industry is about, ascension for the sake of attracting more clients. It's ascension for all those particular reasons, because I know as a financial professional, you may have different reasons as to why you want to do things, or you may have different aspirations and or goals from other people in the industry, right? Somebody that owns their own firm that's looking to hire their first person is different than the person obviously that's studying for the CFP exam, or the person that has passed the CFP exam is now working for an employer that needs to accumulate all the experience hours. So the framework is universal in spanning all those different modes, if you will, or stations along your journey, to help you understand what it is exactly that it's going to take for you to become a what I call superstar financial professional, right? So that's next week. That starts Monday. General mission, which is what I'm doing. I'm doing general mission and VIP. VIPs get to ask me questions 30 minutes prior to the workshop. But general mission, you get to come in and you get to hear me go through all that stuff that I just talked about, explaining that in granular detail, and we'll be covering a different facet every day. There's a private Facebook group, and there's some bonus material for people that participate. And general mission is $57. So relatively small investment for the amount of knowledge that you're going to get over 5 days. So would love for you to participate if you are free next week. Now, some people have asked, like, hey, Dom, I'm going to be doing stuff during the time that the challenge is going, which is at 12. And I totally get that. You know, you may have other things going on that you need to participate in. And so the way the challenge is going to work, we'll go live. We'll do everything live. The workshop is live from 12 to 1. Let me just double check that time. It's all real here, folks. I'm not going to even try to fake the funk here. From 12 to 1 Central. And the recordings, once you pay for a ticket, the recordings will be inside of a private Facebook group and will be up for 24 hours after. So if you're working until 5, you can still pay for general admission and have all the stuff that I talked about, that hour's worth of training and the information and all the resources that I'm going to give and You'll have all that. You can just watch it when you get home from work and you'll be all caught up, because we're doing homework every day, because that's the only way that you retain things. So there's that. Okay. So be sure to sign up for that. I'll leave that down in there on the screen for a little bit. Okay, let's get into some questions. Let's transition here and see what we got. Okay. Let's start with something that is generic, and then we'll get a little bit more specific as the time goes on based on what we got up in the queue. And if not, it's going to be wine o'clock for me, guys, and we'll see you. Next week I'm taking a break because we'll be doing the challenge. And then the week after that, we will resume Find Your Tribe, okay? How to find your tribe. Okay, so first question is how to start a career in financial planning. How to start. And this is actually, a lot of stuff that we're going to cover on the challenge. But let's just, let's kind of define some terms here. So career is different than a job. I do realize that people, maybe define this differently. I look at this career as a profession, like for instance, a healthcare practitioner, like a doctor or a nurse, or an attorney. Like I look at financial advice giving the same way, and therefore I use very careful words when I describe what I do and what my peers do, because the way I look at it is a financial professional gets to sit in a very sacred seat as this conduit between your client and what they're trying to achieve in life. Not just financially, because what you'll find out as you're getting in this career, or if you're already here, that money spans the whole spectrum of people's lives, not just the financial part. So there's that. So when someone asks me, how do I start a career in financial planning? Then I refer people back to a diagram that I created about the financial advice continuum. And let's just talk about that for just a second, because this continuum is multidimensional, but like just for the purposes of our discussion right now, it's two-dimensional. You have on one side the the consumer financial services that's looking for financial advice, in air quotes, right? Generic financial advice. They don't know what they quite need right now. They may have had a brother-in-law that started selling insurance and sold them a policy that he never services anymore, and that was a couple Thanksgivings ago, and you try to avoid him anyway at all costs. That may be their experience. You never know. So when they hear something on the news, or change jobs, or have an event in their family, they may want to go back and enter this financial advice continuum. So there's that part based on what they may need based on what's going on. Then you have the professional on the other side, right? You got the consumer and then the professional. The professional is the person that shows up with the advice that they need in some type of capacity, whether that be financial planner, whether that be financial counselor, whether that be financial educator, whether that be financial therapist. You get my drift. So, and there are obviously different expertises there. And so one of the reasons why I created this particular picture around this discussion is because there's a lot of things moving. There's the financial professional that's trying to get in the industry, and I always ask them, let's get more specific about what you want to do, because there's all these intersection points about how advice moves across the spectrum, or across the continuum. And then there is the person that doesn't always know what they're looking for. Like there's no shade there, but they just don't know, because largely because our industry is so confusing about what we call ourselves. That's one thing. And then how we charge is different. And then state regulations are different. And then there's fiduciary this and fee-based and fee only that. And it gets a little overwhelming. Like for you and for the financial professional that lives and eats and breathes this stuff, like we get it, but it's terribly confusing to an outsider, trust me. So all that is, what it is. So back to the question, how to start a career in financial planning, right? So financial planning, let's define that. Financial planning is, in my opinion, different than financial advising. I would say that this financial advising, and I had a really good conversation with Mr. George Kinder. Oh my gosh, is this season 5 of the podcast? I believe it was season 5, maybe episode 41, 42, somewhere around there. And he talked about the history of the term financial advisor. I admonish you to go back and do that, because it's a made-up term. I won't spoil the surprise, but it's a made-up term. So the financial planner versus financial advisor term. Financial planner signifies more of what I said at the top of this question, which is this is a profession. Financial planning is a profession, like or akin to attorney or physician, right? So when we talk about starting a career in financial planning, there are a lot of things that go into starting a career in financial planning versus getting a job as a financial advisor. I'm just going to let that sit for just a second because obviously I stepped on a lot of toes and I'm going to unpack what I'm saying right now, but it's way different. So, like, with an attorney, if you were, and I don't know too much about this, but I do have some attorney friends, but you would have to obviously go get training. You would have to pass an exam, the bar, and you would probably go into a role as a underling or apprentice type of person in a established law firm as you work your way up to the ranks. You know, maybe doing depositions at first, but then you get to sit maybe second or third chair on a couple of cases and blah 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 until you work your way up into your, you know, maybe doing litigation and stuff like that, right? There's a path, is my point. Same way with financial planning. There's a path, right? In this particular case, the industry has designated, for the most part, certified financial planner as the designation of choice, which requires you to do what? Education, an exam that everybody recognizes. And then when you get, you know, let's just say you go the firm route to work for a firm, then you go through that same matriculation where we, you know, do a whole lot of quote unquote grunt work at the beginning. You're just going to work your way along the path. Versus a financial advisor, which is a very, very low bar definition or term to categorize specifically what I do on a day-to-day basis. Now, let me just say parenthetically, I get calling myself a financial advisor. I totally get it. Depending on the audience, I will say financial advisor because it gets too hard and difficult to explain it depending on the company I'm in. And everybody gets what financial advisor means. So don't get that twisted. You may hear myself, or you may see titles to my videos or social posts that I do and say financial advisor. He's like, well, Dom, you just said, hey, listen, there's a certain posture that I can use when I'm talking to the inside the industry versus outside the industry. So there's that. Now, going back to financial advisor, this made up term that has not been around that long, less than 60 years. The thing to note is that a financial advisor is usually going to be characterized as someone that is working. Well, man, there's so many definitions. Let me see where I want to go with this. Let's say the most familiar in the industry, right? I'm not gonna even go there with insurance agents, insurance professionals, brokers, any of those people that are just solely licensed to sell insurance. I'm not gonna go there with how they call themselves financial advisors. I don't even acknowledge that. I'm sorry. Insurance is great. It has its place, but I do not even entertain the conversation with an insurance professional that wants to call themselves a financial advisor. I just don't even do it. So I'm not even talking about that. I am talking about people that are technically registered representatives of a particular broker dealer and have passed either the 6 and 63 or the 7 and 66, or sometimes you even see the 6, 63 and 65, or the 7, 63 and 65. There's a lot of combinations there. But the point is, they are registered representatives of a company, registered representatives. So they have let me see the best way to say it. They have been sponsored by a broker dealer to take an exam that allows them to sell securities and products to the investing public, and they represent that particular broker dealer. That's all that really means. It doesn't really mean anything else. It means that you've probably gotten product training on that stuff. It probably means that you've passed one or more of those exams that I just talked about. But it does not mean that you know how to do financial planning. It does not mean that you have taken any financial planning courses, or it does not relate at all to any of the stuff I said about that pathway of apprenticeship and ascension through a gauntlet of various stages, totally different. And so it's good to know that as someone coming in the industry, because a lot of the duties, if you will, and tasks of a financial advisor and a financial planner get layered on top of each other, and they really shouldn't. They can look the same depending on the person. Like, these terms have nothing to do with the goodness of the heart of the person that is wearing such label. Like, I know really great financial advisors that are great people that will never become CFPs, and they do a pretty good job. And they've gotten a lot of qualifications for why they do a good job at this point in their career. And then I also know CFPs that don't do such a great job. So I'm all over the place with it. Facebook user, I don't know your name, but when people ask me, I say financial planner. Yeah. So that's great. I guess, that's all personal preference, of course, right? I have asked, I was just asked this the other day at church. Somebody asked me what I do, and I said, I'm a financial planner and I'm a consultant. And then I I can never just leave it at that. I can never be like, yeah, I'm a motivational speaker, or I'm a teacher. Like, you have to continue to explain whenever probably you put anything remotely close to financial in front of whatever you do. So I totally get it. I guess I would be curious, in what settings are you typically explaining or calling yourself a financial planner? Is that to the industry, or is that to outsiders? So I would be curious there. I'm going to shrink this just a little bit, because when I do I'm going to shrink this call to action here, because when I do the micro content from this, I don't want it to be all over the place. Okay. Actually, I'm just going to take it off for now. This is what I'll do. I'm going to put it in the chat. So if anybody is interested in how to participate in next week's challenge, they will have that information. How about that? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a comment. Give me just a second. Challenge info here. And it's going to be a pinned comment. So I thought. Bear with me. I'm having issues, obviously. But here's the deal. I would love to know. Oh, to outsiders. Okay. So yeah, that's good. I think, well, here's the deal. First of all, to each his or her own. And that's the great thing about, being able to, be independent or whatever. You call yourself whatever you want to do. Some people call themselves financial professionals or financial consultants or whatever. So it's totally up to you. No right, wrong, or no right or wrong answer here. I'm assuming you're watching in the Facebook group. Maybe I can't hop on there while I'm simultaneously doing this. Let's talk about can you be? This is another question I have, or had come to me. Can you be a financial advisor as a second job? Can you be a financial advisor as a second job? Now, if we're using the definition of financial planner and financial advisor that I just gave you, the answer is absolutely yes. You can be a financial advisor as a second job. Like, it is possible. It is technically possible. How well that may work out for the individuals you interact with, called clients, is something that's a different answer. So let's talk about it, because that's what I do. I would say the typical arrangement for situations where people are working some, let's call it some other primary business, line of business. It could be anything outside of financial services. And then also they have a side hustle or side business as a financial advisor. Let me tell you the instances in which I see this in. I see people that are mostly selling insurance products call themselves financial advisors that have financial advisor as a second job. I see that a lot. I also see um, multi-level marketing organizations that have a financial services arm that are broker dealers, and they sponsor people just like a Merrill Lynch or a JP Morgan or a Edward Jones would do to get their licenses and sell their products. And so that also is like a financial advisor. So I mean, technically that is a financial advisor, and you could do that as a second job. I mean, if and not to get super technical here, but if you are having to file a U-4, which is the form that you file with any securities regulatory authority about your status as a financial advisor, especially if you charge for investment advice, Investor Act of 1940, then you have to declare what are called outside business activities. And so if it's your second job, your first job will be, hey, I'm a nurse or I'm an engineer or I'm a whatever else you do. That has to be done legally in order for you to be registered with that broker dealer. So those are the instances in which I see it. Now let's kind of take this a little bit high level. I think that apart from dipping your toe with externships or internships or mentorship programs or any of that kind of stuff where you're learning from somebody in a controlled environment, specific things about the industry, like I talked about with the financial planner path, I'm not counting that stuff. That I think you can do that, and that's fine. I'm not counting that as a second job because likelihood is that you will probably be needing whatever your primary source of income is to continue going, unless you've like built up some runway, which is a whole nother conversation in a transition. But I don't know too many financial professionals, specifically financial planners, that do this as a second job. Like, how do you get good at it if you do it as a second job? Because like you're spending a whole lot of other time doing other stuff. I'm just saying, how do you develop mastery if this isn't your main gig? And this is not even to say, what do you tell prospective clients about why you are not doing this full time? Like this being your main source of income. Like this is what you eat, breathe, and sleep. Like, cause I as a client would ask you that, like, why are you kind of dipping your toe? Like, why are you not all in with this? What's the deal? I'm just saying. I don't know how you navigate that conversation because there's a level of conviction that it takes to be like, I'm 100% all in. This is what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a financial planner. Like that's what until I get to a level of, making it, success, whatever phrase you want to use, then this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to have as my backup plan, my primary source of income in my job, just in case I don't make it at this financial advisor thing or financial professional thing. How do you navigate that conversation? Tell me, like, if you're doing it now, like, let me know. Like, I would love to chop it up with you on this live about like how you navigate that. Cause I think that is one thing I think it does. I think it undermines the trust with the client relationship from the get go. It's like, if you don't trust in this thing well enough to make it your all in all and dedicate all to it, like, why should you be my advisor? Like, why should I hire you? Like, you may not even be here in a couple of years because you decided that it didn't work for you. I'm just saying. Give me a little bit more context to that Facebook user. It says, what's a great way to get started in the business and learn? You're talking about as a second job? That's a question. That's a clarifying question to your comment. But yeah, I am opposed to the idea of a extended period of time of you moonlighting between what your primary source of income is and using the financial advising job as like your side hustle. Like I don't know that that's good for the industry, and I have my reasons for saying that. We can definitely go into it a little bit more, but yeah, I think it's something a little different than getting started, getting your feet wet, apprenticeship, mentorship. Those are all different. Like I totally get that, and those are fine. I think you should do those. If you have an opportunity to learn from somebody that is more seasoned in the business while you're up and running, or trying to get up and running, that's fine. But that shouldn't take 4 years. That shouldn't take 3 years. Like there's a point at which you take the training wheels off and you be like, this is what I'm going to do, and I gotta go all in on it in order for this to work. Like, so that's just what that is. And it's like that with any industry. This is what I'm saying is not unique to our industry. Like this happens with everybody. There's not many people that are masters at their craft that do it only as a side hustle or a second job. So again, I'm willing to be debated on that point in fact, or hear something else. But after 2 decades plus, those are my observations. Okay. All right. Very good. Let's move on to another question. How do I become a financial advisor with no experience? Well, again, going back to the definitions that we gave for financial advisor and financial planner earlier, very easily is the answer, because the bar is pretty low. So just to recap, if you're just joining us, financial advisor is the term given to a variety of hats that people can use rather in this industry, and to at a minimum, well, let's just say not at a minimum. In most cases, what you're going to find as a financial advisor in this industry is you're going to be required to get your life and health license. And we can go through why they want you to get these particular licenses, but this is just what it is. Life and health, Series 6 and 63. Series 6 and then Series 63. Or Series 7 and 66. It just depends on the type of firm you're working for. If you're actually going to be giving financial advice, then you're going to have to do the 66 or 65. So, but if you're not going to sell anything but like proprietary, so like where you'll see these pairings is like, say for instance, like New York Life, where all you can sell is New York Life products. Like it has to be in their product suite. Like maybe typically like a life insurance type product, or life insurance chassis with maybe, maybe there, if there's exchange traded mutual fund stuff going in there that's not proprietary, then you're going to have the 7. Let's put it that way. So like if you get stuff into exchange traded, like bonds, any of that kind of stuff, you're going to have the 7. But if you're staying within the product suite of a State Farm or, New York Life or Mass Mutual, any of those type of people, typically you can get away with just the 6 and the 63. Okay? So that's typically how that works. Now, and all those people are financial advisors. Technically, they are. They're financial advisors. You can hem and haw about all that, but that's a term that is pretty common. And you don't have to have any experience, because like, even though some of these companies require or will allow you to take up to 9-12 months to pass your exams, it wasn't like that when I was coming in. It was like 90 days, pass your life and health, your Series 7 and your Series 66, or you're out. Like that was the deal. That's they laid the gauntlet down back then. So there was no SIE back then. I didn't have to do SIE. Now nowadays you do have to do SIE. So that's another exam. But you could literally be walking off, I'm not sure I understand. Thank you, Siri. Thank you. I appreciate that. You can literally like sold your last house as a real estate agent and say, I want to be a financial advisor, go get your exam materials from Kaplan or something like that. Start studying. Get hired by a broker dealer that will sponsor your 7, because the 7 has to be sponsored, or the 6 has to be sponsored. Meaning that you have to have, they have to open up your FINRA window portal in order for you to take that exam. So you have to be quote unquote hired by them as an independent contractor or an employee or something. And you take those exams, and literally in 90 days, you can be a financial advisor. So I would say that's without experience. So like, that's how you become like a financial advisor with no experience. Now, is that the best way to do it? Absolutely not. But that's how it happens. Let's answer some more questions that just came in. Hey, Berserk Scarlet. Is that Berserk Scarlet? Scarlet Berserk. Hey, how you doing on YouTube? How long does it typically take to gain proficiency as a financial planner? This is a great question. Depending on the environment, there's a couple of variables here, right? So there's environment, externally your environment, like where you're learning. Are you learning in a financial planning firm with, a direct supervisor that's kind of helping you and mentoring you? And then there's the internal stuff that's going on, like how fast do you comprehend? Like how quickly do you grasp the concepts? And the concepts that you grasp, what does it look like, the ability to employ what you've learned so that it sticks? All those variables aside, or let's just put that to the side for just a second. The CFP curriculum, or the CFP pathway to holding those letters, those marks, requires that you have at least 6,000 hours of experience doing the 7 steps of financial planning. So we can pull that up on the website right now if you want, but it's easy to go to just go cfp.net, and you can find it pretty quickly. So there's another path. There's the 4,000 hour apprentice path, but hardly people go through that one. But it's usually 6,000 hours. So like, let's just say in a normal working year, you're 2,000 hours. That's 3 years. So the CFP board, the board that actually confers you are a certified financial planner, for the 90,000 plus people that have these marks, says 3 years. So I think you can gain proficiency, maybe a little, like give or take, maybe a little bit more or less than that, depending on how, like, again, those 2 variables that I gave at the beginning. Like, it looks way different than, a super big firm, where you may do not that much financial planning, versus a smaller firm where the owner is bringing on new clients and growing, and you're the second hire, and you're, feeding the fire every day, type of deal. Like, you're going to learn faster. You're going to get more proficient faster, because you're just hands on. So it's hard to say, but I would say 2 to 3 years, is kind of standard. All right. Facebook user says, I was working in construction. Let me just make sure you're the same person. So it's kind of hard to have a conversation if it's a different person. I'm trying to keep context going, and I just want to make sure it's the same person. So I'm going to hop in the Facebook group real quick. Oh, okay. So yeah, this is the same person, Gregory Walls. Okay. So, and let me just remember what we were talking about. You were saying that it's okay to be a financial advisor as your second job. And I guess that's the context for what you're saying right now, which is, I was working in construction. There's no way I could have stopped working while building my client base. I get it. Yeah. So again, I don't know that there's necessarily a wrong answer. Is this what I wouldn't do, nor do I agree with. I don't know that. There's a lot. So like, let's just say I was mentoring you when you were working construction. There would be a lot of things that you wouldn't be able to do that I would require, or at least highly recommend, because your attention was in construction. And you may be like, I was able to do it. I was able to get out. I mean, but then the flip side is also true, which is your ideas were, or your mindset was in financial planning, but you were still getting paid for construction. And all I'm saying is that tornness detracts from the experience that the client has. That's all I'm saying. And I know this from like seeing it, being in there, mentoring people, seeing all the different aspects of how someone that doesn't have a second job, or not a second job, is not doing this as a second job, their experiences and outcomes versus somebody that is. So that's what I'm taking that from. And so that's the conclusion that I came to based on that. But if you're in the industry now and everything's all good, and I would imagine you're not doing construction anymore, that's water under the bridge. Okay, so hopefully I kind of covered all the questions there that have been asked. Is becoming a CFP worth it? Maybe. I don't know if I was supposed to answer like that. Maybe. I like really it depends. These are interesting questions. So why do I say maybe? You guys would probably like that I'd be more definitive. I'm just not like that. I'm very thoughtful with my answers because it depends. But I'm going to unpack it, definitely. So is the CFP worth it? Well, let's talk about what the CFP is and what it is not. That's probably the best place to start. So the Certified Financial Planner designation is a signal to two general sets of people. First is a signal to the industry about what you've accomplished, what you're willing to accomplish, what you've gone through, the type of stuff you've learned, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's inside the industry. Then it's a signal to the outside the industry to financial consumers, to the extent that it has been marketed as something that financial professionals should want to attain, B, like the credibility and the reputation that goes along with it, and the expertise, blah, 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 blah. But if you've ever seen the CFP's marketing campaign, they even have to be careful about what they hold a CFP out to be. I mean, there's all these legal disclaimers about that. And this is how the industry is. So what I would say is the effect of that marketing is good. It's definitely positive, but it's not the end all be all. And so the signal is not as strong to the investing public as I think it is inside the industry. It is what it is. I said this a couple weeks ago. Industry designations are for us. They're not for the clients. They just aren't. Most clients don't even know what this stuff means. Like, you tell a client that you have the CFP, it is rare. I'll give you 5 people out of 100 that can explain the 4 E's and what you've gone through to get that designation. Nobody knows. And even if they Googled it, they wouldn't have any context for understanding what that means for how you help them. So I say that to say, you have to be intentional about why you go after designations and spend all this time and money to do it. Nothing wrong with it. Hey, I have CFP. I have a graduate degree in finance. I get education, but and I get the accumulation of knowledge, but understanding and wisdom is better, right? So we want to strive towards not just attaining knowledge, the accumulation of truth and facts and yada, yada, yada. We want to also be able to know the why and the how behind the what that we just learned. And then we want to get to a point of proficiency and mastery of all of that so that we can quickly synthesize solutions for clients. That's what they pay us for. That's what clients want. Answers to their problems, solutions. They can care less about how many letters you have behind your name. It might initially impress them, But if you get into a meeting and you have no substance, then on to the next person. That's how that works. So I have to say that for context because I believe the CFP can be helpful in helping you build a base of knowledge that you want to continue to stack on. Um, it's a really great, what I would call inch deep, mile wide type of learning for you. It doesn't go super down the rabbit hole on any one particular thing, but it gives you a broad knowledge around a lot of things that allow you to be better positioned to do comprehensive planning if that's what you want to do. See, you may not want to do comprehensive planning, which that's a whole nother thing. Like there's different designations for what you may want to do. I created something called logic maps a while ago to say, if for instance you like generalized financial planning, this is the pathways or the designations you might want to consider. If you like investment management, these are the designations you might want to consider. If you like tax, if you like insurance, if you like estate planning, like I did that because people were asking me these questions. And so all that to say, let's say that you want to construct portfolios and create, let's call it tax efficient strategies or income efficient strategies or high class flow strategies using exchange traded instruments. Well, I'll tell you right now, CFP is not going to prepare you too well for that. Nope, buddy, not at all. Like like you do not learn enough about. I'm gonna get real nerdy on you. Skewness and kurtosis and efficient frontier, and you don't learn enough about that. And bond duration, you just don't. Not in the CFP curriculum. You touch on it, but you do not. Present value of money, time value of money is about as far as you really go with those type of calculations. But understanding statistical analysis so that you can do regression on and backtest portfolios, portfolio ideas that you have. No, you need the Chartered Financial Analyst designation for that, the CFA. Then you will get some proficiency at that, and that would better serve you for a career in investment management, portfolio manager, that kind of stuff. And that happens in financial planning firms. They hire CFAs to put together their portfolios. So that's the reason why, like when you say is becoming a CFP worth it, to someone that wants to do what is the rest of that question. That's the way I would clarify if somebody were asking me that in person. Is I was like, for what are you trying to do? That it all depends on that. So great question though. Great question. What else do we have here? God, time flies. I did not know it's almost 8:00. So I was thinking that we were going to be done earlier, but I guess not. I guess that we did what we had to do. Are there any more questions? Anybody watching live have any more questions? I'll hang for just a second here. I appreciate it. Thank you, Gregory, for participating. If you're still there, respectfully agree to disagree. What else? I think those are all the pre-submitted questions I had. Let me see. Yes, that is true. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I'm going to go say hello to my wife kind of for the first time today. We've been passing each other in her business and my business. And so go eat some dinner and kind of relax. And hopefully we will see you. Let's put this up again. In the challenge next week, let's talk about that real quick. This is something free you can have, by the way. As we're kind of, oops, what did I do with it? Give me a second here. I just lost what I was trying to show you. Give me a second out. I have all this fancy equipment here that sometimes trips me up. Well, I thought that I would be able to show you what I wanted, but it is appearing that I cannot find it. Well, the challenge is coming up. Let's see. Maybe it's over here. Nope. Oh, here we go. Give me a second here. Okay, so that's the cheat sheet information. That's not actually the challenge. Give me a second. So there's two things. Let's talk about both of these. Oh, God. I'm going to get this straight. Cue the Jeopardy music or something like that. All right, let's do it this way. We're going to do... Okay, so we got two offers up here. Okay, one of them is free, one of them is not. Okay, what is a cheat sheet? Let's just talk about this and then we'll close it down. The cheat sheet is something I created a while back that has the 5 mistakes that I have seen as, let's call it, the most common 5 mistakes that people trying to get into this industry make. I'm not going to give it away to you right now, and it would take more time than it needs to. Just go download the cheat sheet. All you have to do is go to that website, and it's free. Just put in your name and your email address. Very helpful piece of information. I've even got some bonus stuff in that PDF, and I don't remember what all it is, but it's very helpful for the person that is trying to get into this industry but doesn't know where to start. There's my free gift to you. Okay, and then there is the challenge next week. So as I said at the top of this, what I decided is many people were asking me how to get into the industry, and once I get in the industry, how do I make impact? And I decided that across whatever domain you're at, whether you're trying to get in the industry, whether you are in the industry and trying to get clients, whether you are wanting to go out on your own, I mean, there could be a myriad of things. I decided that there are 5 characteristics that will help you be successful as a financial professional, superstar financial professional. How to become a superstar financial professional. That's why the URL is Superstar Challenge. What would you need to do? And I will, over 5 days, an hour each day, teach you those 5 things, 5 characteristics that I feel will position you for what I would term as ascension through your financial services career. Because that's what we all want. We want to help more people. We want to get paid more. We want all those things, or we may want to, eventually open our own firm, yada, yada, yada. So I'm going to share all those things with you. I have coined the phrase CHAMP skills, because that's what they are. It's an acronym, CHAMP. So that's the way that we will talk about that. Now, you may not be able to attend the challenge live from 12 to 1 Central Standard Time next week because you got other things going on, which I totally get. But what I would say, for $57 and 5 hours of me giving you this download of information, it's well worth it. Even if you had to watch the replay or the recordings, which will be up in the private Facebook group for everybody that pays a ticket for 24 hours. And then you go, Dom, I can't even watch in 24 hours. Okay, well, the challenge is not for you. Maybe at some point in time in the future you can do it. But that's the deal. $57, immersive training. I'm going to give you a lot of knowledge for the time you're going to spend with me. And it's going to be well worth it. So you should sign up, especially if you're struggling with direction in this career, or how to move forward, or how to excel. So that's what that's all going to be about. All right. So time well spent. Good stuff. Helpful. Everybody, thumbs up if you're still around. Hopefully that is. Like, share, subscribe to. Like and share this video on the platform that you're watching on, please. That would be great. You can also leave comments on the YouTube video, or if you're in the Facebook group, or any thread. I don't really matter. It doesn't really matter. I do read all my comments, and I try to respond to all the ones that I feel deserve a response. Some of them don't deserve a response. I'm just gonna be honest. So I don't respond to those. I do read everything though. And then last but not least, subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed. Follow me on social. We do a lot of things that are designed to benefit the financial profession as a whole, to make you better at what you do, so that you can impact the people that you're called to, and that you can literally give the type of advice that helps them change their family tree. That's what I'm all about. So no matter what we disagree upon, if you're helping people change their family tree, dude, ma'am, sir, I'm all for you. Like, I'm there with you. Methods, I don't really care too much about. I'm not like one of those other financial planners that are like, if you don't do it this way, you're doing it wrong. Like, I can kind of care less. Are you helping people? All right, keep on doing it. Keep on doing a good job. You got my kudos and my endorsement. All right. Well, see you good people. It's been fun. See you later. Bye-bye.